My name is Ethan Carter. I'm 30 years old and live in Los Angeles. I work as a commercial real estate broker. It's a world built on numbers, confidence, and pressure. You either win big or you vanish quietly. There's no middle ground, no mercy for the slow. I've been in this business for 7 years. The first 3 nearly broke me. I survived on instant noodles and cheap coffee. I worked weekends, holidays, and nights until sunrise. Every deal was a battle for survival. Every rejection felt like a cut that wouldn't heal. But I learned. I learned how to talk to people with power. How to make them believe I was worth trusting. How to smile when I was terrified inside. I studied market trends until my eyes burned. I watched the city rise and fall like a living organism. Real estate isn't just property. It's human emotion disguised as numbers. It's about predicting greed, fear, and ambition. The people I deal with don't care about feelings. They care about returns, timelines, and control. So I became one of them. I stopped hopping and started calculating. I stopped dreaming and started closing. And little by little, it worked. Last year, I made $200,000. This year, I was about to triple that. I had a client worth millions, a major retail company. We were close to sealing a $15 million deal. It wasn't just business. It was my ticket to the next level. I'd finally earned my place among the sharks. I could feel it every time I walked into the office. People looked at me differently now. No longer the desperate rookie begging for listings. I had confidence. I had a future. And I had a plan. The deal would bring me $450,000 in commission. Enough to change everything. Enough to buy freedom, stability, and pride. I'd spent a year nurturing that client relationship. I knew every detail about their expansion goals. I prepared reports, forecasts, and proposals down to perfection. This was supposed to be my moment. The reward for all the sleepless years. The proof that I wasn't just lucky, I was capable. And then came her. Ava Monroe. She entered my life like a summer storm. Beautiful. Loud. Unpredictable. She wasn't part of my plan, but I let her in anyway. At first, she made everything feel lighter. She called me ambitious and brilliant. She said she loved my drive, my discipline, my calm. I believed her. I thought I'd found someone who saw beyond my work. Someone who wanted the man, not the money. But love can blind you faster than success ever can. And while I was busy building my empire, she was quietly building her throne on top of it. I didn't see it then, but soon I would. And it would cost me more than I ever imagined. I met Ava Monroe at a charity gala downtown. She was standing near the bar, laughing too loudly. Her red dress caught every reflection in the room. People stared when she walked by, and she knew it. She had that kind of beauty that made silence follow her. I wasn't planning to talk to anyone that night. I hated those events, forced smiles and fake compliments. But Ava approached me first. "You look bored," she said, swirling her champagne. "I am," I admitted, and she laughed. That laugh was dangerous, like a spark in dry grass. She told me she was a content creator. An influencer, she said proudly. She talked about her followers like they were employees. 50,000 people who cared about what she wore, ate, and said. I didn't understand that world, but I was intrigued. She was bold, magnetic, and knew exactly what she wanted. That night, she made me feel seen. Not for my career, but for my energy. We started dating soon after. At first, it was incredible. She was affectionate, confident, and endlessly exciting. Every date felt like a scene from a movie. She'd post pictures of us, captioned with words like power couple. I'd never been called that before. I liked the way she made me feel important. I wanted to give her everything. So I did. She'd forget her wallet, and I'd pay. She picked the most expensive restaurants, saying the lighting was perfect for photos. I didn't care. I thought love was supposed to cost something. A few months in, she started leaving things at my apartment. A toothbrush, a hairdryer, a drawer of clothes. Soon, half my closet belonged to her. I didn't mind at first. It felt intimate, like we were building something real. But Ava had a way of turning everything into strategy. Every moment had to look perfect. Every meal had to be photographed. She'd ask me to take hundreds of pictures until she found one she liked. I became her photographer, her editor, her assistant. She told me I had a great eye for composition. I believed her. She quit her job 6 months in. Said her brand was growing, that she didn't need the distraction. I supported her decision. I thought it was temporary. But soon, I realized I was funding her entire lifestyle. Designer clothes, luxury dinners, content trips she called business investments. It all came from my pocket. When I asked her to help with rent, she smiled. "Babe, I'm investing in our future, you'll see." I wanted to believe her. I kept thinking success would make her appreciate me more. Instead, she grew more entitled. She talked about my money like it was ours. But when it came time to pay, it was always mine. She told her friends I was her manager, not her boyfriend. And that's when I realized I wasn't dating Ava Monroe. I was working for her. By month 8, Ava had completely taken over my life. Her clothes filled my closet. Her makeup covered the bathroom counter. Her laptop sat permanently on my dining table. She treated my apartment like a film studio. Every corner was a backdrop for her brand. She'd spend hours posing, changing outfits, fixing lighting. I was always behind the camera, taking endless shots. She'd criticize my angles, then smile sweetly afterward. "You're getting better," she'd say, as if I were her intern. I stopped recognizing my own home. The quiet I once loved was replaced by constant recording. I worked all day, came home and worked for her at night. I edited her photos, adjusted filters, wrote her captions. She'd scroll through them, pretending to give feedback. "I love that one," she'd say. "Post it now before the algorithm dies." It was like living with a boss I never applied to work for. She promised brand deals were coming soon. Partnerships that would finally let her pay her share. But they never came. Instead, the demands grew. She wanted a new camera, new clothes, a better phone. She called them business tools. I called them bills. She'd laugh when I mentioned money. "You make plenty, Ethan. Don't be cheap." I started to feel like an ATM that took pictures. Every time I brought up boundaries, she'd twist it. "I thought you believed in me," she'd say. "I thought we were a team." And I'd cave because I loved her, or at least the version of her I met. But that version was gone. Now she only talked about numbers. Followers, likes, engagement rates. She treated love like a transaction. Every gesture had to be recorded, shared, and approved. Even our arguments became content. She once posted a quote about toxic men right after we fought. People messaged her with sympathy. She showed me the comments and said, "See, my audience gets me." I started to feel invisible. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her storyline. The final straw came at a dinner with my friends. She told them I needed her to teach me how to dress and socialize. They laughed awkwardly. I felt small. Later that night, I asked why she said that. She rolled her eyes. "It's just banter, babe. Don't be so sensitive." That word, sensitive, became her weapon. Every time I expressed frustration, she used it to silence me. I kept hoping she'd change. Kept telling myself love required patience. But deep down, I knew the truth. She didn't love me. She loved what I could provide. And I was too afraid to admit it. Because if I did, I'd have to face the fact that I'd built a life around a lie. And soon, that lie would explode in front of everyone. The night of the gala was supposed to be the highlight of my career. Months of preparation led to that single evening. The venue was a grand ballroom filled with investors and executives. My client, a retail CEO named Mr. Hawkins, was flying in for it. We planned to finalize a $15 million property deal. This contract could set me up for the next decade. Ava was thrilled when she heard about the event. But not for me. She saw it as a chance to network and build connections. She spent days choosing her outfit, her jewelry, her hairstyle. She said it needed to photograph well under warm lighting. I paid $800 for that dress. She called it an investment. The morning of the gala, she was nervous but not for my speech. She was anxious about lighting, angles, and who might take her photo. "This is going to be amazing content," she said. I tried to remind her this was a professional event. She smiled and said, "Relax, you're lucky to have someone glamorous." When we arrived, the room sparkled with quiet elegance. Ava immediately began posing in front of the banner. Guests stared. I could feel the unease ripple through the room. I whispered for her to stop. She laughed, said, "Babe, it's called confidence." I forced a smile and prayed she'd calm down. For a while she did. She mingled, charmed a few people, made polite conversation. Then Mr. Hawkins arrived. A traditional man, serious and old-fashioned in demeanor. I introduced Ava, hoping she'd simply say hello. Instead, she launched into a speech about her brand. She bragged about being a lifestyle influencer and female entrepreneur. She called me her investor and business partner. I wanted to disappear. Mrs. Hawkins looked bewildered. Mr. Hawkins looked unimpressed. I tried to shift the conversation toward market analysis. Ava interrupted, talking about luxury real estate aesthetics. No one was laughing. She didn't notice. She kept talking louder, filling the silence with her self-importance. Then she said it. "You know what's funny? Ethan practices his presentations in the mirror." The table went dead quiet. I felt the air leave my lungs. She giggled. "It's adorable. He's like a little kid pretending to sell buildings." Mr. Hawkins stopped eating. Mrs. Hawkins stared at her like she was insane. I whispered, "Ava, enough." She ignored me and kept going. "He takes his job so seriously, like he's performing brain surgery." That broke me. My career, my reputation, all reduced to a punchline. Mr. Hawkins cleared his throat and said we'd talk another time. I knew that meant the deal was gone. Ava smiled at him, oblivious. When they left, I stood up. She whispered, "You're embarrassing me." I said quietly, "No, Ava, you embarrassed me." Her smile vanished. I took a deep breath and said it out loud. "I can't handle you anymore." The table froze. She tried to laugh it off, but no one joined her. I walked out of the ballroom without looking back. In that moment, I lost the biggest deal of my life. But I also took back something she'd stolen from me, my self-respect. The morning after the gala, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Ava had posted a series of Instagram stories about me. She called me controlling, insecure, and emotionally abusive. She said I kicked her out because I couldn't handle a strong woman. Her followers flooded the comments with sympathy. Some even sent her money for a fresh start. I stared at my screen, half angry, half numb. She had humiliated me in public, and now was doing it online. But this time, I wasn't going to stay silent. I spent the entire day collecting everything I had. Emails, screenshots, receipts, contracts, and photos. I had proof that I built her so-called influencer career. I found every photo I took, every caption I wrote, every brand email I sent. She had never handled a single deal herself. I compiled it into a file labeled Ava's Empire. Then I started making calls. I contacted the skincare company that paid her $500 a post. I forwarded them proof that I was the one managing all her content. Their reply came 2 hours later. Partnership terminated. Next was a clothing boutique that sent her free items. They said, "We avoid inauthentic creators. Consider this contract void." The jewelry brand followed, canceling her deal and offering me consulting work. One by one, her fake empire began to crumble. But I wasn't finished. I filed DMCA takedown, requests on all the photos I had taken. I own the copyrights. Within 48 hours, half her Instagram feed vanished. Her perfectly curated life began to glitch in real time. She called me that night, furious and panicking. "You're ruining my business," she screamed. I said calmly, "You mean the business I built for you?" Then I emailed her an invoice. $75,000 for brand development and management services. She texted back in disbelief. "Are you insane? I'm not paying you for being a boyfriend." I replied, "These weren't gifts. You ran a business. I ran it for you." She didn't answer after that. Instead, she posted more stories about toxic men stealing women's work. But people had started noticing the truth. Her followers dropped fast. Brands unfollowed her. Her friends stopped tagging her in posts. She had exposed herself without realizing it. I sent copies of the invoice to her parents and her best friend, too. I explained that Ava had described our relationship as a business partnership, so I was treating it like one. By the end of the week, her life online was collapsing. She lost her apartment keys, her brand deals, and her credibility. Meanwhile, I focused on my career again. I met with my broker, expecting to be scolded for the gala disaster. Instead, he smiled. "Ethan," he said, "you handled that chaos with composure." He told me Mr. Hawkins had called, impressed by my professionalism. They still wanted to work with me and expand the deal. I almost couldn't believe it. While Ava's fake empire burned, mine was just beginning to rise. The next few weeks felt like waking up from a long nightmare. My deal with Mr. Hawkins went through without a hitch. He expanded it from $15 to $50 million. I was officially managing their entire Southwest portfolio. My commission tripled overnight. I had lost a girlfriend, but gained a future. The irony wasn't lost on me. Sometimes destruction clears space for something better. Meanwhile, Ava was spiraling. She showed up at my office, pretending to be my fiancé. Security called me, asking if I wanted to see her. I told them no. She refused to leave, telling people I had stolen her business. Security escorted her out while she cried in the lobby. By lunch, half the building knew the story. She posted another crying video from her car. "This is what powerful men do," she sobbed. "They destroy women who speak their truth." But this time, her audience didn't buy it. People commented, asking why half her posts were missing. Some even mentioned that her brand deals were fake. Her empire of illusion was gone. Her friend Jessica called me, begging me to take Ava back. "She's losing it, Ethan. Please just talk to her." I said no. Ava had made her choices. The next day, she sent me a message from a strange number. It said she had hired an attorney. The lawyer accused me of theft and illegal eviction. But it was just another bluff. A real lawyer wouldn't text from a personal phone. My attorney laughed when I showed him the message. 2 days later, she found me at a restaurant. I was having lunch with Mr. Hawkins and his team. She walked straight to our table, shaking and desperate. "I can fix this," she said loudly. "I told everyone you've been under stress. They understand." I stood up and told her to leave. She wouldn't. "You can't handle your career without me," she shouted. The entire room went silent. I turned to the crowd and said clearly, "This woman is not my fiancé or business partner. She is not welcome here." The waiter called security, and they escorted her out again. Mr. Hawkins looked at me, then smiled faintly. He said, "A man who can cut losses quickly will do well in business." That afternoon, we signed the expanded contract. It felt like closing not just a deal, but a chapter of my life. A month passed quietly after that. I heard Ava had moved back in with her parents. Her social media went nearly dark. Just vague quotes about healing and self-love. Then, 6 weeks later, she called. Her voice was small, shaky, unrecognizable. "The IRS is auditing me," she whispered. "They said I owe $35,000 in taxes." Apparently, she hadn't reported the money I gave her as income. Her parents kicked her out. Her friends stopped helping. She said she was living in her car. She begged me for help, said she'd apologize publicly. I listened quietly, then told her the truth. "Actions have consequences, Ava. Now you're learning that." She cried, but I didn't answer again. A few days later, she posted a final video. She admitted everything. The lies, the manipulation, the humiliation. Then she disappeared. No more posts, no more glamour, no more Ava Monroe. And for the first time in a long time, I finally felt free. Months passed, and silence became my favorite sound. No more drama, no more apologies, no more chaos. My business thrived beyond anything I had imagined. I bought a new house, overlooking the city skyline. Every morning, I watched the sunrise and felt at peace. Sometimes, I thought about Ava. Not with anger, but with clarity. She taught me that love without respect is just dependency. That giving everything to the wrong person drains your soul. I heard she found a job as a waitress near her hometown. No followers, no sponsors, no audience left to impress. Maybe she finally learned what real life feels like. As for me, I stopped chasing validation. I stopped explaining myself to people who never listened. I rebuilt my life with honesty, not illusion. People call it revenge, but it was. It was growth. The kind that only pain can teach. And when I look back at everything she took from me, I realize she never really won. Because in losing her, I found myself again.